Don't let people on social media steal your dream. Hi, my name is Carl Valeri, and I'm the host of Aviation Careers Podcast. You know, there's a lot of research done out there that, 1 out of every 2 comments that you see out there are actually very negative comments on social media. Today, I'm going to give you some tools to help you combat some of that negativity out there on social media. But the main concern for me is that you don't let people steal your dream of aviation and flying on social media. There's a lot of it out there. We're going to use some tools today to actually make you go forward with your career, and if you're just looking at it as a hobby too. Don't let people on social media steal your dream. One of the things I think is really important is sharing things with people that will help you. And that's why I want you to ask questions. Feedback at aviationcareerspodcast.com. If you have any questions about this video or past videos, I really want to help you move forward in your career and your life. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the different things that we can do to combat that negativity that's out there on social media. So first, let's just realize that negativity bias, it's a real thing. It's also treatable, but it's out there. We can go into the psychology of that, and we can actually talk hours about that, actually. And that's, my background was developmental psychology. I was into AI, and that's a little bit of what we talked about is actually some negativity bias. But just realize it's out there. But let's use some practical advice as to how we can combat that. So number one, realize that negativity bias is out there, but it's also treatable. So the other part of that is the fact that a lot of times we see that negative people are usually the loudest on social media. You see this often, how the people that actually speak the loudest are usually those people that have very negative opinions about something. And look at reviews online of anything that's out there. Look at one of my videos. Just go look at the comments. Every video I put out there where I'm trying to help people or relay information, you're going to see negative information every single day. I get something negative. Someone says something bad about me or tells me I'm wrong or I'm an idiot or whatever. You have to realize that trolls will be trolls. They're out there. So, and they're usually the loudest. So don't let those people drown out your dreams. And there's going to be a couple tools I'm going to use to help you so that those people that are the loudest won't be heard by you. And it's actually really simple. One of the things I'd like you to do is realize that this has been going on for a long time. I talked about this in some past episodes. I talked about it in episode 88, which was back in August of 2015. I had this really cool story that I related about this fighter pilot who decided to go to the airlines and absolutely loved it. I'd love you to go check that one out. Those are audio. We didn't start video till the past few years. But also, even go back further than that, back in September of 2013, in episode 38, I talk about not letting the naysayers get to you. Don't listen to the naysayers. And there was a really cool video that's out there, and I shared it in both of those episodes, and it was with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he actually just talked about those naysayers. And just, don't listen to those naysayers. And a big part of that helps you, and those videos will help you to actually not let some of these people on social media steal your dreams. So let's get a little more granular on this. And one of the things that I think is really important when you have a goal, you have something that you're doing that's a little bit out of the ordinary, like becoming an airline pilot, one thing you have to do is be very careful who you share your dreams with. Family and friends can be your best advocates, but they also can be the most negative. So one of the things I would, challenge you to do is to find a mentor. It could be your mom, dad, it could be, a close relative. But if you can't find one that's a close relative, reach out to, different mentors that might be out there on the internet. You see them all the time. We do that here at aviationcareerspodcast.com/mentorship or aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching. We help you either on a one-on-one basis or we help you within our group mentorship. And the cool thing about that is we don't allow negativity in those group sessions. Everything in those sessions are to help other people. As a matter of fact, our last session, you got to check it out. There was somebody that didn't make it through training and an airline, and one of the things that was cool is people coming together and trying to encourage that person. How often do you see that on the internet? Just think about it. You put something on the internet and say, hey, I didn't make it through training, and the person says, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And the next 10 people are going to say, oh, you're an idiot or something like that. Very negative comments. So be careful who you share your dreams with, especially on social media. So remember that I'm talking about one-on-one there, but I'm also talking about social media because we're in an environment that we often will share our dreams with people online. So be very careful there. Some of you are very private people. I'm actually a very private person myself. I don't share a lot of the things about my private life. I talk about some personal things, but not very, very private type of information. And that's a very important thing. I know when I decided to become an airline pilot, my parents, my dad was just all for it, but my mom was like, no, this is dangerous, that type of thing, because you're flying airplanes. But the other part of it is the fact that, my parents paid for my education. So I wound up going into another field in computers. I was in data processing and designed computer systems for Fortune 100 companies. And that was great. And the great part about it is I took that negative, went into that field, and was able to pay for all my training because I did really well in that business. So make sure you're careful who you share your dreams with. And in my case, see what I just said, sharing it with my dad, he was very supportive. My mom wasn't so much, although she was supportive of the fact that I was doing something that would actually be something I loved doing, but just didn't like the flying part of it, of course, because of, she was afraid I was going to get hurt, that kind of thing. And I get that. But don't look at that the negativity there in your family too, because one of the things that held me back and might be holding you back is when I shared those dreams with my parents, they knew nobody in aviation. One of the reasons I started this podcast, I started doing the coaching, because when I shared that dream with them, they went to their friends, and their friends said, hey, listen, if you're not an airline pilot by the time you're 30, you're done. There's no way you're going to become an airline pilot. And I was actually, right at that point, I was in my 20s when I discovered aviation, that I could actually fly planes. And that was like a big kick in the teeth. And it's like, well, all these people that are in these flight schools are a lot younger than you. You're 23 years old. You're too old to become an airline pilot because it can take you years to become an airline pilot. So what's really important is to find a mentor that can help you. And that's actually what my dad did. So in sharing your dreams online, you sometimes don't find those mentors, but every so often someone will say, hey, listen, if you want to become an airline pilot, go check out Carl's podcast, Aviation Careers Podcast. He can help you through coaching or a group mentorship program, that type of thing. The other thing that my dad did is he put me in touch with a guy who was an airline pilot. And it was the coolest thing because here I was talking to somebody who really liked what he was doing. And he took me up in a small private airplane and we went flying around. And it was really neat to listen to him talk about what he did and his lifestyle. His lifestyle was really cool. I'll never forget this, is that he told me that he actually worked like Friday through Sunday. And the rest of the week he ran a cement company. So Friday through Sunday. And I was like, wow, that's the coolest thing. And I kind of wish the guy was still alive to this day. He was an old United pilot. He was retired back in the 90s, actually in the 80s when he retired. And I wish I could tell him, hey, I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm not working that many days in my life, and I'm running a business just like he was doing. And so that was what was really cool. Back then, we didn't have social media like we have today, but by sharing the dreams with the proper people, that actually helps you. By sharing the dreams with the people online that are going to help you, that's really important. Send emails directly to those people that are out there on social media. You will see that there's lots of negativity out there. So we want to combat that. So don't let them steal your dreams. Go to those people that actually can help you. Also, what I want you to do is this. I want you to, number 5, work on things that you can control. And don't let those things that you can't control bring you down. What are some of the things that you can control? The economy, you can't control that. Just control the things that you can control. And with that said, in the economy, you can plan for things. I'm a big fan of having at least 24 months of cash in the bank. Cash meaning I have availability of funds somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be cash itself. But one of the things that I think, especially in this career, when you're getting started, is being incredibly conservative. Either have a lot of cash in the bank, especially when you're working, or when you're going through your ratings, maybe pay cash for those ratings. Have another job that you can bring in money. It might take you a little bit longer, but make sure you can work on those things that you can control, and that's what you're doing. You're controlling that. Or look out for scholarships and look out for ways that you can get loans, which, by the way, that's the sponsor of this podcast is Stratus Financial. You can look them up at stratus.finance, and they're giving away scholarships guides, which could help help you move forward in your career by using the coupon code STRATUS. Go to aviationcareerspodcast.com/scholarships, and you can get one of those scholarships guides for free. And a big shout out to them. They just actually went past 500 scholarship guides that they've given away to you listeners, I think, and viewers. So I think that's awesome that they do that. They'll be there at Sun and Fun. Go, and by the way, come visit us on Sun and Fun. It'll be a lot of fun to see you guys there. But work on the things that you control. You can control. Work on the things that you can control. And that's things like your finances, where you live, and that type of thing. And by the way, that's going to be another video coming up. We're going to talk a lot about how to pick the right flight school for you. And those are some of the things that you can control, is what flight school you go to. So work on the things you can control, and don't let the things you can't control draw you down. Like, for instance, you may have an issue medically. You may just need to go out there and work on the things you can control, and that's getting some medicines, or going out and going to a doctor and consulting with them. And by the way, we have a company that I refer people to, Aviation Medical Advisory Services. It's in the resources tab on our website, and you can actually find out more about that. So you can control that. You can go out there. If you're thinking, gosh, I don't think I can get my medical, well, one way to control that is to go out and find out if you can by hiring a consultant. Don't get online, and don't let those people on social media steal your dreams by saying, oh no, if you wear glasses, you can't become a pilot. That's what they told me. I've got glasses on. I couldn't become a pilot because I had glasses on. Well, there were certain things I couldn't do. Couldn't become a fighter pilot, etc. But yeah, with glasses on, I still can become a pilot. So make sure you work on the things that you can control, and take control yourself. And don't get on social media and start putting stuff out there and say, hey, I have this problem. And then, because what's going to happen is, on social media, things devolve into these very negative comments. Look at my last video. Just a good example, or any of the videos where I talk about, especially pay, when you're trying to teach people about pay. You have all these people that chime in that either don't know anything in the industry, or they don't understand their contracts, and they start chiming in. So make sure you listen to those people that are actually doing what you want to do. Again, that's where you get a mentor. Another part of this too, as far as not letting people steal your dream on social media, is it's important to distinguish between negativity and reality, right? And so you really do need to decide to do something or not to do something for a very good reason, not what you hear on social media. So if you do hear something on social media, how do you distinguish between negativity and reality? That's really hard, isn't it? So what I would do is to go out there, look at comments, even comments on things that you've posted, and see if what they're saying is true. Do your research, in other words. It's important to distinguish between negativity and reality by doing your own research. Someone could say that this flight school has bad maintenance, but they may have great maintenance. You need to find out yourself. Just don't go by what people say online. It is good to read reviews. It's just like reviews at restaurants. But remember, the 10 reasons you should or shouldn't become an airline pilot, those videos that I did, some of those things were reversed. Some of the reasons I said you shouldn't become an airline pilot, people are like, well, that's one of the reasons I want to become an airline pilot. So again, you got to, distinguish between negativity, reality, and also that negativity, or something that's negative to one person, could be positive to you. So that's another thing I want you to do, distinguish there. Also, look for people. Number 7, look for people who positively inspire you to make the best decisions. They don't just fill you up with sunshine. So there are those type of people. People say I'm a little too positive. I'm positive because hey, one day above the ground is a great day, right? I can eat, I can walk, I can talk, I can do things physically by myself. I have a bit different view on life. I'm just happy to be alive and be able to enjoy flying. But make sure you have people that will inspire you, but inspire you in a very positive way, and then that aren't vapid, that have something behind them, some type of reality behind them. Like, hey, I know you can do this, and this is how you can do it. Those are the type of people you want, not just people shining sunshine on you. Don't just look at hope, look at action. So you got to have hope, and you have to have positivity, but you also have to have action. So you don't want to fill your life with people that are very sunshine. This is the greatest thing in the world, that type of thing. Well, tell me why. Tell me how I can do that. So look at positive people and people that can inspire you, like I try to do here. But also, make sure that you're doing the best, making the best decisions for you, and people that can help you make those decisions. There are lots of people out there, and that's what's the coolest thing about the internet is the fact that there's a lot of people like me talking about jobs and talking about what you can do and how to move forward. So that's absolutely terrific. Also, the next thing I want to talk about is, when you're giving corrections or criticisms, it's much better to continue to stay positive. So, for instance, if you are given a correction about something or a criticism about something, and someone's criticizing you or correcting you on something, what I want you to do is look at the positive side of that. That person's trying to help you sometimes. So this is, again, where you don't want people on social media to steal your dreams. They may be giving you some feedback, right? But it may not come over well because a lot of people aren't very good about giving feedback, instructors, etc. I've spent many, many years instructing, and one of the things that's really very difficult to do is to give people feedback on something which they didn't perform well with. So how do you do that? You have to give them nuggets and give them some positive, but also say, okay, this is what happened, and this is where you want to be, but I'm going to help you get to where you want to be. So you really want to do that. You want to, when you're giving corrections or criticism, measure those things. When giving corrections and criticisms, measure those things, especially on social media, because you're going to be interacting. So it's important to stay positive as much as possible by looking at what that person is trying to do for you. So when you see things online, realize that those people may not be trying to steal your dream. They may actually be giving you some positive feedback. They just don't do it that well. So in other words, don't let that person and their inability to actually communicate to you in a positive manner the things that you're lacking in. So if you say something online and it's not correct, and it's something that's, say, technical or whatever it is, and you're corrected, don't let those people, steal your dreams. It's really important that you look at that criticism in a positive manner. It's like, oh yeah, they're right. I messed up. So, but now I know this is perfect, right? Another thing about social media is the fact that you will be criticized more if you're successful. Successful people are criticized most often. Why? Because they're successful and they're more visible. A good example is, like I said, there isn't one day, there isn't a few hours that go by where I'm not criticized, but because we have so many viewers and listeners, that's going to happen. You're just going to have a lot of negative people. But when you start getting out there on social media, you're going to see all these criticisms, and you're going to see a lot of people that are doing something and they're being criticized. So what you need to do is realize that person may be very successful at what they're doing, and that is the reason they're getting criticized. But of course, there's the other side of that too. They may need that criticism because maybe what they're doing is something that is wrong, of course, and that's something that you have to measure. Again, going back to that, measure these comments. But remember this, that successful people, more visible people, are criticized more often, going back to the fact that most comments that are made are very, very negative. So one thing I want to do is I want you to take this challenge. I want you to go online and try to find a negative comment. That's going to be hard to do, right? Go online, find a negative comment, negative reaction or feedback, and then think about how you would respond to that in a positive manner. There's a guy out there, Jay Baer, who's great. He has Hug Your Haters. He talks about customer service, but you can relate that to this, where take a negative comment where someone says like, well, you're wrong and this and that, and then try to figure out how you would respond. Don't respond because you don't want to get caught up in that fight, but think about it. Like, would you respond with, okay, why do you feel that way? Ask a question. Say, show me. As a matter of fact, here's a great example. When someone, and I'm in the simulator teaching someone, they say, hey, that's wrong. Well, the easiest thing to do is say, well, let's find out. Let's look it up in our manuals and see why it's wrong. And then you get into the manual and say, oh, wait a minute. Maybe that isn't wrong and that's right, but it says it right here in black and white. So try to take that negative comment and go with it. The other thing, too, there are certain negative comments that are trolls will be trolls, right? And so you just have to throw those away. So you'll just have to deal with that. But how would you respond to a troll? Someone saying, you're an idiot or whatever. Those are the kind of things you have to look at. So that leads into my next comment. If you do see trolls, And in this whole, exercise that you're doing, trying to find a negative comment, think in your mind how you would respond. Send me an email, feedback@aviationcareerspodcast.com, and maybe I'll just do a whole episode on how to respond to all the negativity online. But that's actually something I really think is important, is that you know how to respond to that. And sometimes you just don't respond. If someone says something to you, it's like, okay, I feel sorry for you that you feel that way, and but don't let that shine into your heart. Let that go. Sometimes you just have to ignore the negativity. So that's something you do have to do sometimes, is just ignore the negativity. One of the ways to do that, and this is kind of interesting, right? So not to get too inside baseball, but take a break. Take a break from social media. Take a break from media in general. I took a break from television for 8 years. I got rid of my TV for 8 years. When I was building my first larger business, first of all, I didn't have time to look at TV. So I had a TV, but I had stuff on it. I was storing stuff on top of it. I might use it to watch an instructional video, but that's about it. But I didn't listen to the news or whatever. So I lost out on many years of television. There was a show on TV. Most people know it's called Friends. Didn't see any of that. I was not even watching TV at the time. But same thing with social media. See, social media is very interactive. And maybe you should take a break from social media. Use the social media properly. By taking a break, maybe you need to find out information like jobs and stuff like that. Be very selective in what you use in social media. When you move away from that, all of a sudden your reality changes. And people said to me, how do you find out about news and things like that if you take a break from social media and media in general? Believe me, if it's really that important, people are going to be talking about it. So don't worry about it. You will find out about what's happening out there in the world, because if it's a real big event, you may just need one channel to find out that major event. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But definitely take a break. I turned off my TV for 8 years. Take a break from social media and move forward. But most importantly, one of the things I want you to do is try to find somebody that's very positive, that can help you, kind of like what we do here in our mentorship program, aviationcareerspodcast.com/coaching, and also our mentorship program, where we have a group where we discuss these things. It's very positive, and we are there just to help each other. That is really important to do that. But most importantly, I want you to do this. I want you to take a step every day to move forward in your career and in your life. And I want you to do this for me also. Take a step today to prevent people from stealing your dreams on social media. That may be by just analyzing a comment. It may be by turning off social media for a while, turning off Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., all those news medias. But make sure you do something today to move forward in your career and in your life. And one of those things may be actually turning off social media or reanalyzing what you need on social media. But do that for me today. Take that one step, and I know you will get to your goal sooner than you think. Well, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next episode.